One Zambia, one nation. Thank you so much for joining us on the news desk with me, Amos Zulu. Here are the top stories. Zambia and Botswana conclude Kazungula talks. Kitwe Council Land Agency suspended. Government launches community sensitization program. And government repatriates 35 families to Kambilombilo. And now the news in detail. President Hakainde Hichilema has extended support to Botswana following some protocols discussed by the G7 countries to have all diamond-producing countries ship their minerals to the G7 member states before being polished. President Hichilema has encouraged Botswana not to accept unfair trade conditions, especially those that undermine and substitute decision-making by African mineral-producing countries. The head of state has stressed that Africa should not be excluded on the table of decision-making by international bodies such as the G7. President Hichilema was speaking at a joint press briefing with his Botswanan counterpart, Mogwetsi Masisi, in Kasane, Botswana. Speaking earlier, President Masisi noted that his country's minerals are meant to benefit the citizens, and hence the country cannot allow unfair trade in diamonds with the G7.
Such a decision can never be right. I support you, we support you. Fairness, equity, democracy, respect for the rule of law connotes that when an issue arises that affects somebody else, there must be a sit-down. There must be a conversation. And I think some of you may pick this issue where in June in Paris, a number of us were on a panel with our colleagues from the developed world. And we, as Africa and the less developed countries, have made our case very clear that there has to be a reform of the global financial system. There has to be a reform of the global trading system. There has to be a reform of the global decision-making system. You cannot have Africa with 1.3 billion people excluded from the table where these decisions are made, such as the one we are talking about. That's inequitous. That cannot be right. No matter how smart our colleagues are, they can never fully represent our interests.
A variant position, a different view. We reject the notion that Antwerp or Brussels or Belgium or anywhere in the nation states of the G7 possesses the right to be the single node for our minerals. We have explained to them that we expect that at the very least, Gaborone Botswana would be a node of RAF, because diamonds mean everything to us, less so to them than us. And the issue they are dealing with is an issue that they thought about and made decisions on to do with the conflict that Russia and Ukraine are involved in, and their determination to sanction Russia and in this way sanction Russian diamonds. It is their decision. The diamonds here, we own them until we sell them. We have most of them. We have the nicest of them.
Meanwhile, Zambia and Botswana have concluded discussions to create the Kazungula Bridge Authority that will be headquartered in Botswana. Disclosing the outcome of the meeting, Botswanan President Mogwetsi Masisi states that after the formalities, the Kazungula Bridge Authority is expected to discuss ways of how to expand and widen access roads and install enhanced information communication technology to ease service delivery. President Masisi and President Hichilema also took time to tour the Kazungula one-stop border facility. Sheila Masua has the rest of the details.
Zambia and Botswana have agreed to formulate the Kazungula Bridge Authority that will be expected to facilitate speedy movements of goods. Speaking at a joint press briefing, President Magwatsi Masisi of Botswana disclosed that the authority will be headquartered in that country, while the CEO shall be a Zambian national.
The Bridge Authority will all outstanding items of the location of the headquarters. And in the direction provided by the two leaders from Zambia and Botswana, the headquarters of the authority shall be in Botswana. The Kazungula Bridge Authority will also complete the assignment of the determination of origin of the CEO. The CEO, as directed by ourselves, will be a Zambian national. The Kazungula Bridge Authority, facilitated by the two ministers responsible for this from Zambia and from Botswana, will proceed speedily to complete all other outstanding issues to operationalize and complete whatever works are needed to be completed to develop a legal entity.
President Hakainde Hichilema, who undertook a 2-day working visit to that country, also wants both governments to conclude formalities surrounding the establishment of the authority.
So this bridge is a great asset. Just to add on the wonderful things President Masisi has indicated on this question, the Kazungula Bridge Authority, to look after this wonderful asset, facilitate trade, speed, efficiencies, precision, if I may say so, to ensure that with the movement of goods, it will help us grow our economies and jobs. But not just Botswana and Zambian jobs, but this is a regional asset. It's an Africa asset, and commonly cited during our discussions on what we call the Africa Gateway Project infrastructure.
The two leaders also took time to tour the Kazungula one-stop border post to appreciate issues that delay quick service delivery. Among the highlights of President Hichilema's visit was the signing ceremony of an MOU on immigration and technical cooperation. Sheila Masua reporting for ZANIS in Kasane, Botswana.
And President Hakainde Hichilema says his 2-day visit to Botswana was necessary for enhanced collaboration and discussions on matters based on mutual agreement. The president disclosed this at Kasane International Airport before departure for Lusaka. During his visit, President Hichilema, who was in the company of his Botswanan counterpart, toured the Kazungula border.
President Hakainde Hichilema has described his 2-day working visit to Botswana as fruitful, with promises of more future cooperation. Speaking before departure at Kasane International Airport, President Hichilema said the trip was necessary for the facilitation of discussions that are based on mutual agreement.
Constructive engagements, general trust, a deeper relationship in many areas, but also specific issues that we've had to discuss. We're very happy, and we want our team to continue working hard so that we can sign off the things we've agreed. After signing off in 2-3 months' time from now, then implementation. That's where the value is for our people, Botswanas, Zambians. We're very happy.
And in a joint communique, both Botswana and Zambia have reaffirmed the resolutions and agreements made at the Kazungula border.
The 2 years of stay also toured Kazungula Bridge, which is an important regional infrastructure gateway vital for trade and investment between the two countries as well as the region. The two heads of state further agreed to strengthen cooperation in respect of efficiency of service delivery at Kazungula Bridge One-Stop Border Post and the operation and maintenance of Kazungula Bridge infrastructure. The two heads of state and government further agreed to strengthen bilateral cooperation by launching an enhanced program of cooperation within 2 months in Livingstone, Zambia, covering the areas of transport, mining and mineral value addition, agriculture and livestock, trade and investment, immigration, entrepreneurship, tourism, energy and health.
The president's visit to Botswana has resulted into the discussion of creating the Kazungula Bridge Authority, which will facilitate the speedy provision of services. Sheila Masua for ZANIS in Kasane, Botswana.
In other news, Ministry of Defense Permanent Secretary Norman Chipakupaku says he is impressed with the performance of the Zambian troops deployed under the Southern African Development Community SADC mission in Mozambique. Mr. Chipakupaku said this in an interview with ZANIS staffer Kelvin Tembo after the closure of the meeting of experts for the 12th session of the Mozambique-Zambia Joint Permanent Commission on Defense and Security.
Zambia is among the countries that have deployed troops in Cabo Delgado province of Mozambique for a peacekeeping mission under SADC. Ministry of Defense Permanent Secretary Norman Chipakupaku is happy with the conduct of the troops serving in the mission.
Honest with you, we are very proud of our ZAF officers who are in Mozambique. They are highly disciplined. We've never had any incident from the Air Force. I have personally visited them. They are highly disciplined. We changed the team last year, but the team which is currently there, we are proud of them. We are proud that they are disciplined. But we're also grateful for other countries like Angola. We've provided the support we needed as Air Force when we need it.
Mr. Chipakupaku adds that the mission is scheduled to end this year.
And we're part of the mission of the SADC mission, which is our main mission. But it was also made a decision by SADC that the troops will be withdrawing on the 15th of July, 2024. And so our job now is to make sure that the troops who are there, the airlifting capability which is there, and all the support which we've given Mozambique through SADC, they will remain there until when we withdraw.
And both the Zambian and Mozambican Defense Permanent Secretaries spoke during the closure of the 12th session of the Mozambique-Zambia Joint Permanent Commission on Defense and Security.
Chair, as the 12th session of the officials of the Mozambique-Zambia Joint Permanent Commission on Defense and Security comes to a close, I wish to thank you, sir, Chair, for the candid manner in which you guided the deliberations of the meeting, which has enabled us to conclude on time.
E acompanhar os feitos do presidente Kaunda, do presidente Machel, e conheço que a história dos países é algo muito confuso. E a história da SADC estamos aqui nós para seguir esse exemplo, trazer a paz, a estabilidade e o desenvolvimento econômico dos países.
Kelvin Tembo for ZANIS in Maputo, Mozambique.
Government has with immediate effect suspended the agency of Kitwe City Council to administer land on behalf of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Minister of Lands and Natural Resources Elijah Muchima says the revocation is due to illegalities of land administration by the council. The minister disclosed this in Mpika district of Mchinga province where he is undertaking a working visit to resolve land issues.
Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Elijah Mchima, has continued with his tour of Muchinga province. Mr. Mchima is here to resolve land issues in the province. While in Pika district, the minister announced the suspension of the agency of Kitwe City Council to stop administering land on behalf of the ministry. This suspension is due to illegalities in land administration.
But as an example of misbehavior by councils, I've withdrawn, I've invoked the powers of the Minister of Agents for Quito City Council. I'm sure they have, last week, I've invoked it. They will not manage land, as an example. We have been busy trying to replant some land, and we gave them, but they are dithering. And as such, the land is being invaded. I've decided on behalf of the president to invoke. And any council that is going to misbehave, we shall revoke the agency.
The minister then visited Chief Luchembe of the Visa-speaking people. Here, the chief explained to the minister how his 50,000 hectares of land in his chiefdom has been given to people without his consent.
One of the agriculture officer created another extension which is called Tazara Extension Corridor. Now, we don't know how they extend that land without the consent letter from the chief.
He then proceeded to visit Chief Chikwanda, who called to have the Land Act revisited.
Having a lot of problems with certain land acts, where someone just pops in and say, no, Baria Mpera title did Kurusaka. I think that process should be well controlled. Baria Mpakurusaka without even a letter from here.
And that's why I've come with surveyors. I've come with any relevant officer here so that we can find a solution. We are not going to leave any problem behind. I would rather leave officers to deal with an issue than to leave it unresolved.
Jane Simalumba ZANIS in Pika District, Muchinga Province.
We have health news plus other interesting items after the break. Stay tuned.
Kolera wapa msongo muka. Kolera wapa msongo wa kuichisa. Mutu alina msongo wa kolera echikuichisa nga chikuma na kusaza nawa. Bize vipi mwaichisa mutu na vipoya meya nge msoji wa loso. Mubeji echikuzia nga chikuma mujimba mumo ya kufumisa meya a mujimba. Mubeji nawa na hase kufa mujiwola li 12 hours ngeka wechi kumuhana vitumbo vya kumuka wa shiko. Unahase nga chili kuwachi wa kumsongo wa kolera. Kuhichila mkuna meya kuwa na kuhaka vitumbo nawa aze ali na majilo. Kulia vyakulia na mawoko aze ali na majilo chipwe kuzachisa malonga na jindeho ja kukosa na meya majilo akuhona kuhaka vitumbo. Kulia vyakulia vyakuhona kufika vize wana wili kubajiji. Kulia vyakulia vituta vize kawatumbikanga kana wako. Kulia vyakulia vize wana kulandulula mumikwakwa. Na kulia na wamihako na makovu ako na kukosa kanawa. Tunahasenga chili kulikinga kumusongo wa kolera. Telekenu meya enu akunwa chipwe kuhaka mo vitumbo vya chlorine. Sanenu kumawoko enu na sopo chipwe na meya kuhaka vitumbo hanyima ya kuzaisa chimbusho. Zumisenu vyakulia venu shimbukanda mubilie. Fwikenu havyakulia venu vyosena kuchina kuviwila kubajiji. Kanda kulia vyakulia vyakulanda mumikwa kwa nduma. Zachisenu chimbusho lualo sena. Kahakanda kuzachisa ndundu, chipwe mapepa andundu hakuya na kulihehwa nduma. Mwatela kumona ngwenu, vipi yosena munawitapwila mchimbusho. Chimbusho cha nawa chatela kupwa cha unyoji, kahanawa cha kufika lualo sena. Mujimbu uno vanamnehela wakuli wakachanda chatala kulikangula cha meno ya watu cha Ministry of Health.
Thank you so much for still staying with us. Southern Province Permanent Secretary Namani Monze has advised health officials in the province to enhance mechanisms to reduce the transmission of cholera. Dr. Monze has explained that the fight against cholera in the province will be won once health officials understand the source of transmission and enhance mechanisms that will limit the spread of the disease from hotspot areas to areas with low disease prevalence. He was speaking when he paid a courtesy call on Mazabuka District Commissioner Oliver Mulomba. Meanwhile, Mr. Mulomba has bemoaned the lack of adherence to the fish ban by fishing communities in the district.
Our position as a province is that for us to win the battle against cholera is to stop the transmission. We must cut the transmission cycle. The most effective intervention is to get our people from risk areas to safe areas. As of yesterday, we had 16 new patients, the whole province. And unfortunately, Mazabuka was topping with 9, contributed about 9 patients. Itestage contributed about 5, and Monze had 2. And it's already showing that with breaking the cycle, by ensuring that there is no more transmission from the patients to the unaffected, it can help us quickly stabilize the situation in the province.
Our other worry as a district is that, we have the fish ban this time around. But people are still flooding islands, meaning that they are doing some illegal fishing. And that's why our district fisheries team, working hand in hand with the police, they are mounting roadblocks to ensure that nobody gets into the island again. For what now? Because there is no more fishing. And we are happy that you have come on board as provincial administration. You will guide us more on how best to handle this issue. But based on our recommendation, you have responded positively.
Still in health news, the Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the Ministries of Education and Local Government and Rural Development, have launched the Community Sensitization Program aimed at, among other things, promoting cleanliness in public places such as markets, schools, and bus stations. Speaking during the launch of the program in Matero, Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo has since called on communities to join hands with government in keeping surroundings clean.
Matero constituency was a center of activities as the Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo led a team of inspectors from Health and Lusaka City Council in inspecting schools, markets, and shops. Ms. Masebo was accompanied by Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Gary Nkombo and Education Permanent Secretary Joe Kamoko during the inspection exercise. The aim of the inspections was to check if schools, shop owners, and markets were adhering to cholera regulations. Apart from conducting inspections, the Health Minister also engaged residents on a need to observe hygiene so as to avoid the further spread of cholera.
Kuno kwanu ku George ndiye ku headquarters kuno ku Tubatero kuno kwanu ndiye ku headquarters kwa cholera. So stifuna ndaba every evening bantu bakuchoka kuno usiku ma 01, 02, 03 up to 04 in the morning being brought from the cholera center pa Matero level 1 hospital kubaleta kuja ku Heroes. And nibambire mmachokera kuno bana bangono 0 months old, 1 year old, 10 years old but wala cholera.
Meanwhile, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Gary Nkombo has made a passionate appeal to the public to play an active role in observing hygienic practices.
In the community, do not play our part, our effective part. All those donations are just going to be an exercise in futility because out there, it is the tail end. The generation point of this disease is within ourselves in the community. So we have to play our role.
And Minister of Education Permanent Secretary Joe Kamoko has urged schools to ensure they keep premises clean in the wake of the cholera outbreak.
Clean up. No water pools, no dirty toilets, no dirty classrooms. That way we'll be helping the community to kick out. But also just reminding the children the basic rules of hygiene, washing their hands.
And shop owners have been warned against operating in an unsanitary environment. The Minister of Health later went round Matero constituents, making mobile announcements on the need to keep surroundings clean. For ZANIS, I'm Lakson Makodza.
One of the stories making headlines in our news, government has repatriated 35 families from Lusaka to Kambilombilo in Ufanyama district on the Copper Belt province in order for them to engage in agricultural activities. Minister of Community Development and Social Services, Doreen Mwamba, says government is committed to uplifting the livelihoods of the people who are differently abled in the country. Speaking when she flagged off the repatriation exercise at her ministry in Lusaka, Ms. Mwamba has explained that government is resolved to restore dignity among people who are differently abled by empowering them with farmlands and farming inputs, among others.
Government has repatriated 35 families of people with disabilities from Lusaka to Kambilombilo in Ufanyama district on the Copper Belt province in order for them to engage in agricultural activities and be independent. Minister of Community Development and Social Services Doreen Mwamba says government is committed to uplifting the livelihoods of the people with disabilities in the country. Speaking when she flagged off the repatriation exercise at her ministry in Lusaka today, Ms. Mwamba explained that government is resolved to restore dignity among people with disabilities by empowering them with farmlands, shelter, and farming inputs, among other facilities.
We are going to resettle 35 families. Of course, this morning, over 70 families turned up, all wanting to go, but we had planned only for 35. So they are going to Kambilombilo in Lufanyama, Copper Belt province, and there we provided shelter for them, for 35 families, under the Vice President's office resettlement scheme. They have been given plots, and eventually they will be given title deeds to those plots. So the activity that they are going to embark on is farming. We have provided them with farming inputs and tools, and therefore they are not going unprepared. We have prepared for them.
Beneficiaries of the employment program commended government for repatriating them.
Bali tupangira okulanda ati tulina ekiraka kyakuya mu kubomba n'otukulomba efo bali mwonofu twali anxious batupangira na ivu kunwa uko bati tulina ekiraka sana tuleka kita pressurize bamayobeza tumanye tulefu kwa mkulima mama tulefu kwa mkulima apa twatotela.
Meanwhile, Ms. Mwamba later visited Chikumbi Children's Transit Home to check on the street kids that were recently taken to the facility after being removed from the streets of Lusaka.
All our children been found on the streets, living on the streets, working on the streets, and maybe just aimlessly being found on the streets. The streets are not safe for our children. And as government, now that we've enacted the Children's Code Act number 12 of 2022, we have resolved for the first time to deal with this issue once and for all.
Chikumbi Children's Transit Home Center in charge highlighted what happens at the center.
As a number of children that we have, but if you ask me, I'll tell you that we have 420 kids. Because each child has 12 characteristics within themselves. So it's not a small number, it's a big number, and it's a big job that we have. But with your support coming here, it means you give us the strength, the zeal to want to do more and to do our best.
For ZANIS in Lusaka, I am Sunday Waria.
Thank you, Sunday, for that report. Now, Southern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Yolanta Malunga has commended World Vision Zambia for facilitating the creation of community dialogue platforms in Inalubamba and Mushila chiefdoms aimed at improving service delivery through citizens' involvement in the prudent utilization of the Constituency Development Fund. Ms. Malunga said this in a speech read for her by Southern Province Assistant Secretary Edson Chimwenda during a social interface accountability meeting. Still in the news, Locate Properties Real Estate, a firm involved in marketing Luapula province, has launched the Northern Zambia website aimed at opening the provinces in the Northern Circuit for business opportunity. Luapula Province Permanent Secretary Mighty Mumba, who unveiled the website, has pledged government's commitment to working with cooperating partners in opening up the Northern Circuit. The Permanent Secretary was represented at the launch by Luapula Province Planning Unit Assistant Director Doris Mwelwa.
The potential in the Northern Circuit in tourism and other sectors has remained untapped for a long time now. This is why Locate Properties Real Estate Limited has designed a website aimed at marketing the untapped potential in the Northern Circuit to the entire world. Company Managing Director Lombi Mpabalwan explains the role that the website will play in helping to open up the Northern Circuit.
So as the world shifted into the digital age, so we thought that Locate Properties would come up with something that will make the Northern Circuit also shift. So certainly this website works as a digital platform which is helping us shift to the digital age so that we can move as other parts of the country as well as at the rate at which the world is moving. So certainly that's all about the website and the e-aid. So it's just a general where we can promote our businesses in Luapula, the government programs, the water course, our culture.
Luapula Province Permanent Secretary Mighty Mumba, who was represented by Luapula Province Planning Unit Assistant Director Doris Mwelwa, unveiled the website with a call for more digital initiatives in the country.
Together, we will harness the power of technology to transform our region into a vibrant hub of economic activity, creating jobs, improving livelihoods, and ensuring a brighter future for generations to come. Let us embrace the digital world and position the Northern Circuit as a beacon of innovation and prosperity for all.
Meanwhile, Mansa Mayor Njiko Msuku is impressed by the initiative which has been developed by youths.
Sir, I commend you and keep up with the good works. Dear youths, our message of hope and our message of encouragement is that we can succeed in any environment that we're exposed to. I'm also happy that we're interacting with Mr. Chiwe, who's also a youth doing great things. I last attended his workshop where he was empowering about 20 youths, teaching them digital marketing skills.
Kene Chomba reporting for ZANIS News in Mansa District.
You are still watching ZANIS News. We take our last break. Stay tuned.
Kolela ichumanyi. Kolela hi musongo wa kuhitisha. Muntu una kwachikika musongo wa kolela ukukata musongo wa kuhitisha na kusanza. Muntu yeniwo wahitisha nga menji adine imenji alosu. Muyeji ukuma menji mumujimba windi mulonga wakushweza kuhitisha menji amavulu. Muyeji na twechukufwa muji ora 10 na jiyadi ne ikutambula kukewa kwa kubula kulumbuluka. Injilanyi mwakutambwila musongo wakapota munene ikolela. Kuna menji akubula kushewa ichumbu hela menji amajilu. Kuda yakukwata na makasa amajilu hela kukosa yenga na menji amajilu. Kuda yakubula kubutewa hana kuwila anjinji. Kuda infuta ichuta inabuli kuhembewa chubwahi. Kuda inakulandishewa kunsanyi kwa. Injilanyi yaukangeshela musongo wakapota munene kolela. Wakati shenu menji enu akunwa hela shenu mu yichumbu ya chlorine. Wela enu kumakasa enu na mulola na kuwela nawa kumakasa hanyuma ya kuzacha chimbushu. Tati shenu yakuda heno kanda muyidi. Bai yakuda inakulandishewa kunsanyi kwa. Zati shenu chimbushu mpindi yejima bai kuzacha nyingomu hela ipepa la yanjunju muna mwakunatila malabishi. Mwanene nenu antu anakudukwashila kuyimbushu. Hembeni chimbushu cha unyonji nawa china kubutewa. Insangu yino anaileteliyu kudi akamtayi waipatela.
Welcome back. A local youth non-governmental organization operating in Chipata and Chipangali districts in Eastern Province has launched a project aimed at addressing the effects of climate change on access to reproductive health services. The Bridging the Gap to Access to Reproductive Health Rights Services project is being implemented by Eastern Visionary Youths and scheduled to run for 1 year. Here's a report.
Effects of climate change like floods and droughts lead to displacements and food insecurity, situations that take a toll on many aspects of life, including health. It is against this background that Eastern Visionary Youths, a Chipata-based youth-led organization championing the well-being of young people, has launched a project dubbed Bridging the Gap to Access Reproductive Health Rights Services.
Visionary Youths, with support from HIVAS, is implementing a project called Bridging the Gap to Access SRHR services among young people. Project which is aimed at addressing SRHR with climate change. The overall project goal is to improve access to and utilization of SRHR, HIV information and services, and addressing climate change challenges for the well-being of adolescents and young people.
We've retrieved girls from early marriages. You know, it's been a problem in Zambia, particularly Eastern Province. We've been leading, which is very unfortunate, but as EVY, we have contributed to retrieving some girls from early marriages after having worked with some of community leaders in both Chipata and Chipangali. And hopefully we touch the whole province in the near future.
Government has committed to support this project.
To our health workers, embrace the young ones. As they come, give them a service. Give them technical support, guide them, show them where they can get a service. We've heard in some circles in our society where young ones are asked, at your age, you're asking for a condom, what is it for? You see, that already creates a problem. That already creates a barrier to accessing what? Sexual reproductive health rights, which the project is focusing on as we are here. If we coordinate, we network, we form alliances, partnerships to ensure that our youth get these services, these cases of STIs will go down. Issues of teen pregnancies, early marriages will also go down.
Apart from the launched project, the organization is working to address other social challenges affecting youths in the province. Abigail Kashweka reporting in Chipata District.
The Ministry of Information and Media has embarked on the process to repeal and replace the Independent Broadcasting Authority IBA Act number 17 of 2002 and the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation ZNBC Act Chapter 154 of the Laws of Zambia. Ministry of Information and Media Permanent Secretary Thabo Kawana says the move has been necessitated by technological developments, fragmentation in legislation, international best practices and changes in the statute book, among others. Mr. Kawana said this in a speech read on his behalf by Director Planning and Information Moffat Billy at a stakeholders consultative meeting on the proposed repeal and replacement of the acts at the Mulungushi International Conference Center in Lusaka.
Government, through the Ministry of Information and Media, has embarked on the process to repeal and replace the following acts. The first one, the Zambia Independent Broadcasting Authority Act number 17 of 2002 and the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation Act, Chapter 154 of the Laws of Zambia. The proposal to repeal and replace the two acts is premised on the following grounds, among others. Number one, technological developments. You may need to note that since the enactment of the IBA Act 10 years ago, a number of developments have taken place in the broadcasting sector. These include digitalization and convergence of technologies which are not adequately provided for in the current IBA Act. These and other developments have had far-reaching technological, economic, and regulatory implications, hence the need to repeal and replace the current IBA Act in order to provide for mechanisms that will strengthen the functions, administration, and regulation of the broadcasting industry in Zambia. Like the IBA Act, government has found it necessary to also repeal and replace the Zambia National Broadcasting Act chapter number 54 of the laws of Zambia, with the overriding objective of designating the corporation as a public service broadcaster.
We continue with the news. A 50-year-old physically challenged woman of Petauke district in Eastern Province is one of the beneficiaries of the social cash transfer program. Esther Tembo of Malowa village has used the money received to build a 3-roomed house. Here is a report by Chitalu Tembo.
Her disability has not prevented her from enhancing her livelihood. Esther Tembo, 50, a beneficiary on the social cash transfer program, has educated her children and built a house. She now wants the government to render a helping hand to others facing similar challenges.
Nimangamu nanganda firirumu simenti nkati ni kapansi pano nupemphako kuli bano yangu ziliye mbali yonse kuti ngati ingapezeke gawo yawo nawo akapezeko mbali kuti tika mavuto bawo nawe nili naonero mbali uchepeko nawo akapezeko thandizo ndipo mwaicho niyamikira ngako ndipo boma mulungu aikepo zanja.
Stella Piri, another beneficiary, has used the social cash transfer funding to empower herself with livestock as she takes care of her grandchild suffering from cerebral palsy.
Mwamene yanitandizira natandizika mjira zambiri na chitapo chitukuko nagulako tumbuzi nagulako na tunkuku. So apa pali pano niyamikira government tandiza kasungidwe ka mzukulu chifukwa mzukulu wanga Abdulaziz Piri sakwanisa kudya eka kapena kuyenda. Then government inanitandizako napezako na wheelchair bananipasako kuchokera apo vokudya madaipa sopo vonse nichita bwanji imanitandizira apo peveti yamika.
Anyimba District Commissioner Paul Daka says the social protection programs have elevated the levels of poverty among vulnerable households.
Yeah, the social cash transfer program has over the years shown the individual and household accessing social cash transfer, having recorded notable improvement in their lives, okay, which is good, which includes reduction of hunger, improvement of shelter and better schools, attendance for children. Because when a child is going to school, at least the parents will be able to provide breakfast, okay, so that the child, when he goes to school, he concentrates, unlike before where the parents had no money. And then you'd find that some of the parents, the money we are giving them, they are investing the money. You go around, you find that they have bought cattle, they have bought goats, they are living in a house which has got iron sheets. That means the livelihood of our people is improving. I think that's the aim of the government.
Chitalu Tembo for ZANIS News in Eastern Province.
A senior Zambia Air Force ZAF official has called on people of Western Province to acquaint themselves with the force operations and functions. Brigadier General Mono said this during the official ZAF Public Open Day show.
It was a busy day for Zambia Air Force, where an opportunity was given to Mongo residents in Western Province to interact with ZAF officials to know some of the services being offered to the people in the country. Western Province Air Defense Center Commander Colonel Webster Mwamba and Brigadier General Clifton Mono shared their views.
The greater beneficiaries to this setup we have today are the schoolgoers. please ensure that you interact with the professionals that I've earlier on alluded to and mentioned. It is very important. This might serve actually as your career guidance opportunity.
We are happy today to host an open day so that we give you an opportunity to the Zambian people who are the sole owners of the platforms displayed here. These platforms belong to you, the Zambian people.
Some of the children and parents in Mangu district who had an opportunity to have a helicopter ride shared their messages.
Thank you very much to Zambia Air Force for the skills that they have shown. As you can see, there are a lot of children who want to get into the aeroplane. That in itself is a motivation in one way or the other.
The pilots were very kind. It was very interesting. The interaction was great. So I really think people should pursue it as a career.
It really motivates the children to take school seriously and study very hard in order for them one day to become pilots and join the army office.
This year's Zambia Air Force Open Day show was commemorated under the ZAF vision of effective leadership, warfare, morale, and combat readiness to defeat all threats. Reporting, this is Darlington Kavambe in Mangu district of Western Province.
And lastly, in sports, Zambia national soccer team has been kicked out of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations after a 1-0 defeat by Morocco in the San Pedro, Ivory Coast. Morocco took the lead in the 37th minute of play through a short-range goal into the 6-yard box, goal from captain Hakim Ziyech after goalkeeper Lawrence Mlenga parried the ball inside the box. Morocco dominated the first 45 minutes as they turned Zambian defenders left, right, and center with massive dribbling. The Atlas Lions have secured a top spot in the Group F with 7 points, while DR Congo grabs second place with 3 points, followed by Zambia and Tanzania with 2 points each. The Chipolopolo boys' efforts for an equalizer proved futile as Morocco's defense was too strong and versatile, as Morocco had a total of 19 shots on goal with 7 on target, while Zambia recorded 11 shots and only 2 were on target. Speaking during a post-match press conference following his team's expulsion from the tournament, head coach Avram Grant says he is proud of his players despite the Chipolopolo suffering a first-round exit at the ongoing Total Energies AFCON 2023 tournament. Grant says his team lost the match to Morocco due to lack of experience and failure to be clinical in front of goal. That sporting item brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, a reminder of the top stories. Zambia and Botswana conclude Kazungula talks. Kitwe Council Land Agency suspended. Government launches community sensitization program. And government repatriates 35 families to Kambilombilo. We end the news on that note. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.